Good morning, everyone. Today we will continue our discussion on relational algebra. In the past lecture, we have seen what are the relational algebra features, how to write a query with that, and few example queries for that. In continuation with that, or rather in continuation of the discussion over queries, we are going to see the concept of joined relation. This is a concept which is common for every query language, and this joining of two relation is a very implicit part of most of the queries, because it is there are very rare cases in which with only one relation we get the output. In most of the queries we need to take help of more than one queries so that we can extract the correct intended output. That is why joining two relation is a very integral part of writing a query, and that should be joined in such a way that it should not the combination of it should not be lossy in the sense no information from both the participating relations should be lost, should not be too bulky, it should be avoided consuming more number of resources, and should avoid the confusion for the user. So we need to be very careful when we are trying to join two relations. In the previous discussion, we discussed Cartesian product. Cartesian product which happens automatically or unavoidably when we write a query. In Cartesian product, what happens? One relation is multiplied with another relation, and we are going to form a huge intermediate result on which the conditions will be imposed. And on those with the help of those imposed conditions, we are going to get the output. But this is happening at the back end, and we are not aware about what exactly is happening. So there is a additional concept, or rather extended concept of Cartesian relation, Cartesian product, which we are going to see today, is the joined relation. Means applying a join function on two relations. That we are going to see. Uh, Join operations take two relations and return as a result one another relation. But in short, what I can say is these additional operations are typically used as a subquery expression in the from clause. The way we are using from A B or for R1 comma R2, this joint relation also are used there. But in short, I can say that this joining two relation or applying a join operation on two relations means applying Cartesian product with the equality imposed on the common attributes. Again, I am repeating myself. Applying a join operation means applying Cartesian product on two relations by imposing the equality on common attributes. How that is done, that we'll see. There are two things which we need to take care are join condition and join type. We can have different join types, or we can join two relations in different ways. Those conditions may be the natural join, inner join, outer join, that is left outer, right outer, full outer. These kind of join types are there, which actually defines how the tuples in each relation that do not match any tuple in the other relation are treated. Okay, so as I said, it is a Cartesian product with equality imposed on the common attributes. Means we find a from here and a from R1 and a from R2. If they are common, that means they will be presented. But what should happen to the rest of the elements where these two elements or these two attributes are not same, not equal? So join type basically decides that, and join condition defines the tuple in which two relations match. Yes, but and what attributes are present in the result of join. So that these two conditions, these two things we are mentioning, we'll come back to this formal definition once again after seeing the example. Let's see this example. We have one table R1 where we have SID, BID, and day. The same example we have taken in Cartesian product, if you remember. And other we have is S1, where SID, S name, rating and age is there. So I want to join these two relations. So join is two things. First, we are applying a Cartesian product, and we are applying the equality. Means what exactly we are going to do? We are going to see here. So if I am applying a Cartesian product in the two, SID, BID, day, along with all these four are going to appear in the output, right? The difference between natural join and Cartesian product is the common attribute, which is here in this case it is SID. The common attribute SID is going to appear only once, and then rest of the five attributes are going to appear. Now what will be in the tuples domains, we are clear. Okay, the common attribute will be appearing only once, and if it is appearing only once, the tuples which will share the same value for that common attribute, tuples which will share the same value for that common attribute, only those tuples will be presented in the output. So let us find out. So 22 is here. Do we have 22 here? Yes. So 22 will be appearing here, and the rest of the tuple from R1 as well as R2 will be presented in the tuple of resultant output. So here 101, birth date is 10/10/96, Dustin 7, and age. Are you getting me? So this way, uh, that's what I'm saying, that it's a Cartesian product with equality imposed on the common attribute. Common attribute SID, I am imposing the equality. If the common attribute values are same in R1 and S1, then I am going to present it in the output. And 58, 58, so 58 is appearing here. I am finding there is no match of 31 in R1, so it is not appearing in the output. Getting me? In fact, what is this? If I am converting this into my understandable thing, right now what I am doing, R1 dot SID is equal to S1 dot SID in case of what? R1 into S1. Fine. So what I am doing, SID is common, I am imposing a equality condition on the Cartesian product of R1 and S2. So this expression is very equivalent to this expression. This expression is very equivalent to this expression. Okay, are you understanding me now? So natural join happens in that case. Now what is the leftover? Leftover is this, the tuple with SID 31 in S1 is the leftover, which is not coming in the output. Fine. So that's what I am telling you here. In this case, the join type defines how the tuples in each relation that do not match any tuple in the other relation are treated. That we are going to see in more example. Right now here, how they are treated, they are neglected. In natural join, the leftovers are not appearing. The leftovers are not appearing. Okay. Then now we will go for some formal definition. Before going for formal definition, I'll show you the example. One more example. That was the example which is considered as with a real time values. Now this is, we have R and we have S. So A, B, C, D are the constructs of R, and B, D, E are the constructs of S. Now here we have two elements in common. Now here we have two elements in common. That means equality imposed will be on both. Pair of BC should be pair of BD should be should be matching with the pair of BD in S. Pair of BD in R should the complete pair should match with the pair of BD in S. Then only it will appear in the output. So you can find here. So this is a formal definition or formal example of natural join where we are imposing equality on all the common attributes. Natural join. So if I am applying a natural join operation, it is going to appear in this way, right? Coming back to the original example again, original definition again. Now, what is join operation? Join operation takes two relations and return one as a result. It can be used in the subquery. We have a join condition. Join condition can be either natural. If the join condition is natural, then equality will be imposed on all the common attributes as we have seen in the example of B and D. Okay, with the AND condition they will be put together and all should be equal to the set of the other relation. That is natural. If I am going for selected one, then I can list those attributes on. If I want the equality imposed should only be on B, then I can list out B here, or I can list out as a predicate. I can list out a condition with which I can mention how they should be joined. Okay. Then what is join type? If it is a natural join, then leftovers will not be presented in the output. But if they are either or outer join, we are going to have different strategy towards the leftovers. Leftovers means which are not matching. What to do with those tuples? That we'll see when the examples will come into picture. So here is the formal definition of join. You can go through this definition. It's quite simple. Only thing which I want to tell you is, see, R is A, B, C, D and S is E, B and D. So I am finding B and D both are common in both the relations. These are common in both the relations. So at that time I am going to have this kind of condition. Okay, what will be there in the result schema? A will be there, B will be there, C, D and E. As B and D from S are reappearing, they will not be in the output. So here you see R dot B should be equal to S dot B and R dot D should be equal to S dot D. When both the conditions will be equal, then only it is going to appear in the output. Otherwise not. This is a natural join operation. Natural join operation. Okay. When if I don't want B and D both to be common, then I'll have to explicitly mention on which attribute I need to go for a condition. Okay. So we'll go for some examples, then the thing will be more clear. So as I said, natural join will be imposed on both of them and all the leftovers will be neglected, will not be presented in the output at all. But when I go for outer join, the scenario will be little different. In this case, we are taking into consideration the things which are left over. So it is an extension of join operation that avoids loss of information. As I said at very beginning, when I try to combine two relations, I should avoid the loss of information. But in this case, what's happening? The attributes which are not common or which are not having a common value as with the or not sharing the value with the other relation, they are simply neglected. So that's a loss. So we'll avoid that. So what we'll do in outer join, compute the join, then add the tuple from one relation that do not match with the tuple with the other relation to the result of join. Okay, so the way we are doing in union, if you remember, we are presenting all the common first and all the remaining tuples. Similar way we are combining two relations over here. So it will perform the join, natural join, and all the tuples which are left over will be placed in the output. Okay, and the values which are not available will be placed as null. So we'll go for example of this. We have loan and we have borrower. In loan we have loan number, branch name and amount, and in borrower we have loan number. So here you can just keep few things in mind before proceeding further. We have L170 here, we have L170 here, 230, 230, but we don't have L260 in borrower and L155 in loan. Okay, so we have few common and few uncommon values for the common attributes. Common attribute is loan number. Fine. So what outer join will do? What outer join will do? Outer join will provide complete information about L170, complete information about L230, and then leftovers will be L260 and L155. How it will be? See, this is a natural join or an inner join where only common elements are pasted. But in this case, what will happen? See, there are three elements in loan and three tuples in borrower. Okay, so if I am producing a natural join or inner join, only the common tuples will be present in this way. Okay, loan inner join borrower. Loan inner join borrower means is equivalent to the natural join. Okay, is equivalent to the natural join. So here you can see L170 and L230 are presented. Its branch number, their branch names, their amount, and their customer names are also presented. Okay, same can be written in SQL in this way. So this is a symbol. This is symbol of joining. Okay, for your understanding, I'll make it bigger. This is a symbol of joining. Okay, inner join or natural join is presented in this way. I am writing here, this is not a complete query, but how we are writing join on in this case is loan inner join borrower on what? On this condition. Okay, loan number 2, that what I said is predicate we can mention. Predicate we can mention. Fine. So wherever loan number from loan is common with loan number from borrower, only those entries will be presented. This is the inner join or a natural join. Similar to natural join. Inner join is very similar to natural join as a result. But as a query, it will be little different. Now I want the common elements and all the leftover tuples from left argument. What is left argument in this case? Loan. I want all the leftover tuples from loan. Then I am going to write a left outer join. See the symbol? See the symbol? It is a natural join symbol, but I am extending it to left side. See here. So what it does? L170, L230 both are common and leftovers from the left argument. Leftovers from left argument. What was left argument? This one. Okay, so L260 is the leftover that is presented. Okay, so here you can see L260, its branch name and its amount is presented, but it doesn't have a customer name because we don't have that information in the borrower. So it is made as null. This is left outer join, means common elements and all the leftovers from left argument. Similarly, we can have right outer join, which will have all the common elements and leftovers from right argument in this way. See here. So now we have the join operation having a line extension on the right side. So all the leftovers from borrower will be taken into consideration. So here L55 is coming, L260 is not appearing, and as we don't have values of branch name and amount with us, they will be presented as null. Okay, difference between inner join and natural join is not apparent in case of RA, but it is apparent in this case. See here, lone, natural, right, outer join. So natural, right, and outer join. All three things are different. So natural means I need not to mention explicitly which attribute to be made equal. In this case, in the previous case, what we did here, see, as it was not natural, natural word was not mentioned in both the cases. That's why we have imposed the, or we have written the predicate of equality. In this case, as natural is mentioned, we need not to mention the predicate. This thing you remember. So natural word plays a very important role. Whenever we say natural, automatically the equality condition is imposed on the common attribute. But in case of when we write inner or outer join, we'll have to explicitly mention that equality condition. That you remember. Okay. So natural, right, outer join. So outer and natural can be combined together. Left, right can also be placed. Now, what if I want the leftovers from loan as well as leftovers from borrower? In this way I can write. See here. Now the extension is on both the sides. On the left side as well as on the right side. Both. So it is going to produce all common, then all the leftovers from loan, and then all the leftovers from borrower. Okay. And now the other example of SQL. Here I have used natural. Here I am not using natural. It is full outer join. Full outer join, loan full outer join with borrower using loan number. Now I am explicitly mentioning the name of um, the attribute on which I want to join two attributes. Okay, so using attribute name, the equality option. Natural with no attribute name is the equality option, or inner with equality condition is also an equality option available with us. In SQL, in relational algebra, we don't have to put those many efforts. We just a symbolical representation in different ways is going to do our work. Okay, so this way the natural join and full out natural join, inner join, and outer join with left outer join, uh, right outer join, and full outer join is explained. Okay, we'll just go for a common example. Let us go for this kind of query. Find all customers who have either an account or a loan at a bank. This query we have solved in both the examples, SQL as well as relational algebra. But how I can now write it as a using joining relation or using uh, join operation that can be done. Join operation used in the from clause. Okay, because there only we are going following a small set, and that set the output from that set will be presented. So find all the customers who have either an account or a loan, but not both at a bank. Okay, so how can we do that? We can go for a depositor and borrower. We can use depositor and borrower, and the SQL query will be written in this way. Listen carefully. This will be the first function which will be taken into consideration. Depositor natural full outer join borrower. It can be written in what way? Depositor full outer join borrower using customer name is possible. Okay, because in depositor and borrower what we have in common is the customer name. So this particular thing or this particular portion subquery which is mentioned in from clause is going to produce a table. What kind of table it is going to produce? With three columns: customer name, account number, and loan number. First few entries will be all the names which are common in both of them. Okay, let us say that customer A have account 101 and loan number 201. Okay, L201 and A101 I'll name it as. Okay, so A101 and L201. So one customer is having both account and loan number. We have another customer who have only an account but not loan. Let us say that it is B, who has an account of 110 number and is not having any value in loan. Is possible? This is a left outer. We have a person who doesn't have an account but have a loan. This is also possible. This is the right outer. So when a depositor and borrower are joined naturally means common will be customer name, with full outer join means leftovers from depositor and leftovers of borrower will also be produced in the output. This will be a kind of scenario we are going to get. Now what is the condition I am putting? Where account number is null or loan number is null. So if account number is null, that person is having only loan. If loan number is null, that person is having only account, which will happen in these two cases. So in the output I am going to get only these two tuples, which will be the customers who have either an account or a loan but not both. Who have both? A. So we are not going to produce A into that. Okay, so this way I can make use of join relation. This is little complicated query to understand, but this is something at this level we are something supposed to write. I'll just erase these things so that the equivalent array will be what will be the equivalent array for this? In this way I can write equivalent array will be in this way. Depositor natural join borrower, it should be full natural join. I'll just change the pink color. It should be arrow on this side as well as arrow on this side. It should be full outer join. So depositor full outer join borrower with account number is equal to null and loan number should be equal to null, and project the customer names. So this select customer name, this is equivalent to this, and this is equivalent to this, this is equivalent to this. Sigma is equivalent to where. So this way we can have joined relations. Try to convert all the queries which we have written as an illustration of Cartesian product in SQL as well as in array and try to convert them on a join option. So it will be clear for you. So that this can be your homework rather, to uh, practice few of the queries using the join operations. Okay. So this is all about join operation. One small topic will complete and then we'll finish. The aggregate operation, aggregate functions which you are well aware of. The aggregate functions are max, mean, sum, um, count. Okay, so these are the functions which we have already learnt in SQL. So I'll not go in much details of that. I'll just tell you what kind of representation it has. Okay, it has a representation with a symbol, with this symbol. I can write simply as a subscript to that sum. Sum is the keyword, or this is a default word which can be used. So average, that is AVG, minimum MIN, maximum MAX, sum SUM, and count COUNT. These are the functions which I can directly use, which you have already used in SQL. So sum of C from relation R. So relation R is this sum of C, and this is the symbol for which the aggregate function will appear as a um, subscript. Okay, so the total of values of sum will be produced as a output. Okay, this is the aggregate function, aggregate operation. Uh, Little extension, when we try to use group by for that, when we are using group by, that will be a little bit smaller extension. So relation account group by branch name, so that function, aggregate function, will appear as a right subscript, and the attribute with which I want to group will appear as a left subscript. So group by branch name, find out the sum of balances from the account. So Perry Ridge will be grouped, Brighton will be grouped, and Redwood will be grouped. So that individually their total balance will be printed. I don't need to tell what kind of output is going to produce. I am just telling you how it is used in the relational algebra, and as it is producing a result, it can be used as a, say, let us say that pi uh, branch name, sorry, pi balances. So only balance will be printed out of it. Or I can impose any other condition on that. With sigma, I can impose any condition if I want. Okay. So this is the aggregate operation which we can make use of. So if the result of aggregate function does not have a name, so you can rename it. It is possible, as with the as clause over here also. So you see here, sum balance as sum balance. Okay, and is printed with is grouped with branch. Okay, so this is the aggregate function. So this is all about relational algebra which we studied. A few things I'll leave it to you as an assignment. As and when the you find time, try to go through these things in RA. Those are those are not new for you. Is generalized projection. How can you generalize the projection operation? The division operation, the for all clause, when we are applying any condition for all, or in the relation, division operation is used. Assignment operation, when we are giving some name to the result. And modification of the database, that is insertion of values, deletion of values, and updation of values, along with creation of views. Okay, create view command is same in relational algebra and SQL, but a syntax is little different. So I want you people to study this by yourself. As the time passes, I'll be giving you the assignment on these topics which I am right now mentioning. So this is all from my side, and in next lecture probably we'll go switch over to normalization, which is a very important aspect of DBMS. So thank you very much.